Good day to you, everybody, and welcome to the Ultimate Kingdom tournament. This is the first one I am recording of one of the semifinals against GreenAlligator and Felcruel, as you can see. And, well, that's the match we're gonna watch in a minute. Both are playing Ironclad, and as you can see, their deck lists are on the right on the screen as well. And basically, this deck has some sort of limitation, where people needed to make decks with only one leader, that's the legendary, a lord, that's the epic, two warriors, that are rares, and three peasants, and those are the common cards, and one special spell card, and the castle, and that's like their structure. So people needed to include those cards in their deck, and well, from that point forward, it's like their own kingdom. So it's a funny concept where you have a lot of deck restrictions. So you need to be very creative with what you want to play and how everything synergizes with each other. So that is pretty sweet. All right, then let's have a quick look at their decks. What we're currently seeing is that the Felcruel is playing with Lawless Herd, Wild Saber Paws. Or let's just focus on the important one. He uses Collector Meards. So that gives him a lot of mid-game advantage with his token of 5 strength and 0 mana. He also uses Harvester of Souls and Snake Eyes. So he has a lot of card draw, which helps him get to his tokens very quick, especially with Snake Eyes. And Harvester of Souls is really strong in the late game. So he has late game orientation as well as Siege Assembly. That helps a lot as well with getting the presence on. It's a lot of late game stuff already. He uses Execution to snipe his opponent structure. So that is pretty sweet. And well, I like Sound Drivers. Push your friendly unit into your opponent's baseline. Especially with a token of 5 strength. Can be very devastating. So that is Felcruel's lineup. And on GreenAlligator's lineup, he has used the legendary Dr. Mia. So as you can see, he's running Emerald Towers as his structure to be. Very interesting. I was imagining something like a True Shot Post or a Siege Assembly as well. But Emerald Towers is nice with buffs. Also a bit tricky to play because it has a lot of conditions. But if you can make it work, it's really, really strong. He has nice debug loggers, a lot of value. Mechanical Workers. That also helps with Dr. Mia. Doesn't spawn the next turn, but the Mechanical Workers that spawns a Mech Workshop spawns a Construct token in front of it, so it gets protected. And he also uses Twilight Prowlers, pretty cool card that moves from your baseline 3 steps forward. And if it's not placed bordering your own base, it doesn't move at all. Effects of the melee is strong as well. And boosting Elixir, that can be very strong if you have some units on your opponent's baseline and put this on those units. So pretty sweet. So without further ado, let's start with the match. So GreenAlligator starts. Yes, Wetwind Sailors. Yeah, I wouldn't psycho out debug loggers. I think that is your MVP of the game. I would prefer to psycho out Twilight Prowlers. Definitely not debug loggers. Boosting Elixirs is maybe 4 mana, but it's only most beneficent if you have 2 units on the board, obviously. Well, we cannot see what Felcruel is doing with his hand, but Finite Loopers is a pretty solid opening, I imagine. Getting the Delegators out. Not sure why. But maybe it doesn't really matter much with the Twilight Prowlers, right? So you have a 6-drop. Mechanical Workers also on the mix. I think Mechanical Workers might not be seeing any play in the early games. Except if Felcruel puts a lot of units on his own baseline. But with Sound Drivers getting out, that's definitely not the case. Might just take 2 damage and push forward. Yeah, it's very sweet defensive spot on his own front. So GreenAlligator cannot push forward. And this is an infinite loopers, so it's a bit more tricky to completely remove from the game. It's a pity the debug loggers doesn't buff anything. Maybe it was a bit too aggressive, this play, but hey. And we also see now at Emerald Towers might not see play during this match unless a miracle worker helps GreenAlligator to clear everything up from Felcruel. Didn't his mirrors fairly quick, but I think at this position you don't really care that much. I think Felcruel is still happy to make a token. So that makes perfect sense to lose a bit of tempo, because you don't have to be afraid of structures. I think the biggest problem with the Mirts, if you play it first turn and your opponent has a very strong start, he can get the structure advantage, and then basically you will lose because your token is just too late, because you cannot kill the structure. But the Emerald Towers is only 3 strength, but GreenAlligators isn't running an execution. But I imagine he can easily destroy Dr. Mia this turn, and then makes this just his own castle instead of like basically a Fort of Evanrock. So that's a pretty sweet one for Felcruel, copying a 5 strength Dr. Mia, especially with Siege Assembly in his deck. Very good finishing move for him. So that's a big advantage of not having Dr. Mia yourself as your hero / legendary card. Just copy paste it from your opponent. Yeah, this is Snake Eyes. Never actually seen this in play, so I'm very curious to see if he has cycled into his own token. Might be a bit too quick, but I expect to see it next turn. So keeps his sound drivers on the aggressive side. Yeah, this makes sense. Most like, yeah, it's a bit of a weird, awkward mana curve. I think you're gonna play a big boy, because then you have a bit more easy. Like this is only 4, yeah, maybe this is the best way, right? But this is only 4 strength, while Delegators was 7. But as GreenAlligator, you have to remember that Felcruel has a token in play. So if he can use his token, like if he has Green Gill Serpents and his token, it will be really bad. Execution is bad as well, because he has still 5 mana to clear the space. Yeah, from this point forward, I think it was not maybe the most value play, but maybe the best play he could make, because 2 units adjacent to each other would have maybe kept his front a little bit, and he could wear him down. From this point forward, it will just be a bit problematic. He doesn't play Emerald Towers. Yeah. You wouldn't want to play Emerald Towers in the middle rows because of base luck. So it makes sense that he doesn't go for that one. He's getting chipped down. Don't know where Felcruel's Siege Assembly is, but it might be a good turn. Ooh, getting a debug loggers. Copy paste as well. Yeah, now it's getting really, really rough. Not sure if you want to cycle Victors of the Melee. I would assume Emerald Towers doesn't really make much sense. Like for example, if Felcruel attacks the front here a little bit, Victors of the Melee can do some AoE damage. But yeah, now we see the token Mia. This is really, really strong. Felcruel is really going ham with his Harvester of Souls. So that's the first match. Let's update the score as well. The game will just go automatically to the next one, so that's gonna be fine. Alright. GreenAlligator, also please remember you have always to click on these skulls to add some shading effects to the environment. So now we can focus again on the match as well. So he played Westwind Sailors, most likely mostly on mana curve. So that's pretty smart. And this is tricky again for him already. It's the best turn you can have. Playing Collector Mirrors first turn, then after 3 rounds, then you have your 5 strength token to start your advantage or become very aggressive. Okay, this is a tricky part. I understand that they use Westwind Sailors in the middle columns because of Siege Assembly. You don't want to play it in the middle. But now Emerald Towers needs to be placed also in the middle of his own column if he wants to buff anything. And I think it's just also really awkward because it just, well, these Westwind Sailors of 1 strength will definitely get killed. So this is so difficult, and maybe you don't ever want it to be played on your 1 forward. Because now how will you ever get a unit in front of this? But I think that's the problem with Emerald Towers altogether, right? I think we should, well, at least my preference is Emerald Towers in Shadowfen, Azure Hedges. That helps a lot, especially on high levels where the whole board gets spawned with tokens, and now with the new update where Reign of Frogs also is 1 mana on level 5. Then it's impossible for your opponent mostly to destroy Emerald Towers because he cannot place a unit anywhere on the board anymore. This is a very sneaky move. I really enjoy this one. Because, well, you got a bit lucky with the Construct getting killed and eventually walks up. But, well, he's most likely gonna destroy the Emerald Towers anyway. And then what remains needs to be 4 strength or higher, otherwise Debug Luggers gets its ability off again. Like, I think he cycled boosting Elixir soon, but maybe it redraws it, plays Dr. Mia, and I get a lot of values. Look at that. He does it, or the shading on the skills. Well, Felcruel is just roping. But he isn't doing a crunchy bones, so do not worry. It's all safe. This is, I'm not sure if this is the best one. It weakens, and then he has 1 strength left, and he can most likely kill it, but I think it's fairly awkward. Because now he needs to move forward and kills it. Especially because if he doesn't, then this one also stays alive. It's a lot of value gain. So basically, Wild Saberpaw's movement depends on if it has surrounding or bordering units. If it has no surrounding enemy units, it moves 2. If it has no bordering units, it moves 1. And if it does border a unit, it has 0 movement. And it only counts for enemies. And this is a Twilight. Walks 3 steps. Immediately forward movement. And well, this is an old VOD of the Ultimate Kingdom. But now Wild Saberpaws has gained a buff where it is 1 mana cheaper. And its strength is decreased by 1, I guess. But losing 1 strength and losing 1 mana is definitely an improvement. 2 mana cost cards are pretty awesome. So if you have the card in your collection, definitely try it out. I think it's worth it. Mechanical Workers is also very slow. I think it's maybe a bit overkill. Emerald Towers and Mechanical Workers. But both are very good for the value game. I think it's just Brothers in Arms and Emerald Towers are pretty sweet normally. Because you can just place Emerald Towers 1 behind. But it's also a slow card, just as boosting Elixir. I think if you are that, well, basically GreenAlligator's deck is maybe not the most aggressive one. It's very strong once it goes off. But since Felcruel's deck isn't really aggressive either, and it has Collector Mirrors, it is it's hard to get to the state where GreenAlligator's deck starts to shine by controlling the deck with mechanical workers and getting multiple values out of Emerald Towers. That's a good one, but it's still very awkward. He's wasting like 4 mana once again. Oh no, sorry, I just didn't saw he played Debug Loggers. Oh, that's very sweet. Not wasting 4 mana, right? That's the best. Now he's on the aggressive side. So depending on how Felcruel handles this, we're starting to chip this. Ah, Windmakers. That's not on his deck list. So that's maybe they can switch like a sideboard or something. Or I put the wrong. I don't know. I haven't seen Windmakers in his deck list. But hey, it's already over. I haven't read all the rules. It's fine, I imagine. They know what they are doing. Okay, this card is awkward now. You can place it right here and then it moves forward for 1. Protects his base. Now it soaks up the 3 damage. But it's not very something you want to do. Because now he's threatening 3 damage for Siege Assembly and he has 5 strength on your opponent's baseline. So Felcruel is on even though with well, this is very good, right? +2 strength for victors of the melee. He's just making his late game, and that's the charm of Harvester of Souls. If your opponent plays aggressive, you copy paste aggressive cards. If your opponent plays control, you can copy paste strong abilities for high cost cards. That's a pretty sweet one. We're not gonna do it on your own base, right? Because it buffs this one. Apparently, he does not matter much. I don't know. I think this isn't the most value. Maybe you just take 3. But how do you ever come back if this just keeps shooting? Like basically we can see in Felcruel's deck list that there are no cards that can run, well except Windmakers, but didn't expect that one in his deck. Green Gold Serpents isn't much damage either. Like he's now like those Pirate Runners or Salty. Those Salty Toads. Yeah, this is pretty tricky. I think this is a concede. Oh, it's like 5. It's 10. So it's 2-0 for Felcruel. Well played, dude. Right. I think it was best of 5, so we will see if there is gonna be a comeback from GreenAlligator. I would really love to see his deck at least go off with his mechanical workers and his Emerald Towers. To see what he had in his mind with his deck and see how strong his deck can actually be. He made it to the semifinals, so there must be a reason, right? You don't get to the semifinals with a deck that doesn't work. Or maybe just Felcruel is his like his kryptonite. With Harvester of Souls having many super valuable targets and Collector Mirrors to push in the mid game. But he doesn't got lucky this time. He opens with Westwind Sailors. And that's the tricky part of Collector Mirrors as well. If you're gonna play it on your fourth turn or your third turn, then it's definitely not that good as a first turn play. Look at him go at those little trees. Move the shading, dude. Yes, that's the sweet spot. He's making them dance. He's doing it all for us. Please put the cheers on for GreenAlligator. Making the crowd wild. I really like Felcruel. He's thinking as much as I do, I imagine. Taking his time for his turns. Yeah, there's definitely gonna be... Whoa. Not on the top left. So ballsy. And I don't want to see... It's... Yeah. It was so ballsy, this move. We should definitely have moved. I should have been here, right? That's definitely a mistake for Felcruel. I think he was thinking himself rich already. Because if he plays it here, it's guaranteed 2 strength value. Like, what are the odds that your opponent has 3 dudes on your front line? You can see what he has. He has green prototypes. Lot saber paws. And Westwind Sailors. But it is 7 mana. So we could only put 2. And Felcruel is running Greengill Serpents and Windmakers. Yeah, now we're gonna see this deck, right? Emerald Tau is here with Dactymia. So he's basically pushing aggressively in front. But he also needs to destroy this Mia. And he has 7 mana to do it. So... I don't think that's possible in his deck. Like, Windmakers can clear up 1. Harvester of Souls can wait. Yeah, he needs to clear this one, I guess. Otherwise he takes 6. Maybe he should have taken 6. But nah. That might be too greedy. So now he's gonna play a lot of cheapo cards, I thought. Because he wants to play something right behind. Not sure. He's clearing this up. Yeah, it's mana efficient. This will definitely get a buff, most likely. Windmakers. Well, he has Windmakers, right? I think it pushes for 3. So then it's 5 and then Greengill Serpents. It will be 7 mana, but that's the only thing he can do against it. I think now he's just hoping for his tokens. Put the aggression on here. Making it very awkward for Felcruel to defend against it. Now we are cheering for GreenAlligator, getting his Victors of the Melee. If there will be pressure on his baseline. Ooh, that's a nasty one. 5 strength Harvester of Souls thingy. Yeah, you're definitely not gonna run that one. So you most likely will cycle out boosting Elixir. You want it cheap. This is a really good one. What did he just cycle? I don't know exactly what he cycled. He's not very lucky with what he gets. And now his Emerald Towers will most likely die. But it might be a bit more tricky for Felcruel to hit his base. And as long as there's a 7 strength, Dactymia is getting in front of your base, it will be a bit annoying. Most likely he will get to one of his tokens anytime soon as well. Takes his good time making his decision. Would be awesome if you could see his hand at the moment. He goes really aggressive. Maybe he has Windmakers, right? And yeah, this is the deal. This even gets buff on one of these 2 units. Yeah, this is too bad. Just the stars are aligning for Felcruel, and GreenAlligator lost his momentum. Like, I think he only can do his Emerald Towers, Dr. Mia, Wild Saber Paws. Takes 4. I'm not sure. Like, he can play Emerald Towers here, Wild Saber Paws there. It will always move too much. So he could have never protected his Emerald Towers, because if it was placed here, it would have moved too. Taking 5 is fine, still out of range of Siege Assembly. I don't remember getting a Dr. Mia copied by Harvester of Souls for some weird ass shenanigans. But yeah, like, if he cannot destroy the Emerald Towers, that will be unexpected. And Delegators is pretty good. Put in aggression. For example, if this one stays alive, you might just put Delegators right here and try to hope for a kill. But he has no runners, so he has to deal this one and a 3. So, but it is lethal on front. Getting his brothers in arms. I think he's just waiting to make his big turn whenever he receives a token. And his Victors of the Melee never gets value. So most likely Felcruel knows what decks his opponent is running. So you can counterplay it by spreading it out to the left and the right column of the game. It's game board. Oh, he goes in. I should put it right here. But so if it was here, it was maybe a bit trickier. But he has like he got the Wild Saber Pulse token. That's soon again. Yeah, it's 5 strength. But he most likely also had his Windmakers and Green Gill Serpents. But it was a smart move. So as you can see, this was the first match. I will update the score as well when I do the outro. And this was the match where we have been hoping for to see. And well played to Felcruel, wielding GreenAlligator. So well, I'm happy we saw the last game that GreenAlligator's deck was shining with his Emerald Towers and Mia play, putting in a big strong column in front. But then Felcruel stars aligned, and he had a nice Windmakers to destroy basically everything. So very strong deck to play against if you play a GreenAlligator's deck. But well played for reaching the semifinals. And well, I'm gonna cheer for Felcruel in his next match in the finals. But before we're gonna see that match, we will definitely gonna do the other semifinals as well. So stay tuned for the different video, which I will upload the upcoming week, where we see the other match. And it was gonna be awesome. If you like this content, please like it, make a comment. And I also have a Discord server. It's in the description below. So it will be awesome to see you there. Thanks for watching and hope you like it. See you later. Cheers.